Hey guys, welcome back for another fight card prediction. It's finally here. UFC 200 is finally upon us. A card which is absolutely spectacular. From the very start of the night, you've got some real veterans there kicking off all the way through the card. Once you hit the prelims of this card, it just gets better and better and better. There's champions galore. There is great fighters galore. It's just going to be a great event. As always, you can follow me on Twitter, Will Martin MMA. Go follow the good guys down below me. As always, the links are in the description there. Go check them out. Show your support. There's some of the people I like listening to, reading their stuff, their interviews, such as that. Listen to their podcasts. So go show your support there. My picks for UFC Fight Night 90, Dos Anjos Alvarez is out. I'll put the link in the description below, as well as Jędrzejczyk against Gadelha, the tough finale. I will put that down below as well. Just a great card. Coming into a brand new arena, the T-Mobile Arena. I thought it looked spectacular. When I was there in April for 197, the very first day I was there after I flew in, the Harlem Globetrotters were there, and I got myself a couple of cheap tickets with my fiance, and we went in the arena, and the arena is spectacular. It's going to be brilliant for UFC events in the future, and I know they're going back in August for UFC 202, which is stacking up to be a hell of a card with the matches announced so far. So we're going to get into this here. Every fight is pretty much a fight I am looking forward to seeing in some capacity. But we're going to get straight into it. In the lightweight division, we're starting off with two veterans in Jim Miller taking on Takanori Gomi. I'm a big fan of Gomi. I was a long time ago back in Pride. I'm a big fan of Jim Miller because I don't think he really says no to fights, and he stepped in against some of the best guys there has ever been in the sport. But they are both definitely on the decline with their careers because their performances of late have not been great. Jim Miller, we all know what this guy's all about. He's a tough, gritty, scrappy guy who brings it, who just looks to win the fight anywhere, and will go out on his shield if he feels that he is down. And like the Cerrone, he tried to land that big left hand, kind of left himself open for the high kick, and got taken out through that. He's only won one of his last 5, and that split decision was a little bit controversial against Danny Castillo. I thought he won the fight personally. I watched that this afternoon, and I thought he edged it. It was very close. Say the 4 of his last 5 losses. Donald Cerrone, a guy who's blazing up in the welterweight division at the minute. Beneil Dariush is always going to be a guy who in the next couple of years will be in the top 10 there. Michael Chiesa, unfortunately, just get injured in the fight against Tony Ferguson, but is a guy who's a top 10 fighter in my opinion. And Diego Sanchez is a guy who, when he puts things together, he's a hard guy to beat because of his volume and just his relentlessness that he can show. Overall, a decent striker, nothing that really stands out. His grappling game is decent, his clinch game is decent, his submissions are very, very good. When this guy gets you down there and he gets a hold of something, you're in deep shit. And I think that in this fight, that's where he really needs to take that, because the only place I really see Takanori Gomi winning this fight is like a flash knockout, like he did against what's his name back in the day, Tyson Griffin. Yeah, so he knocked him out with a huge shot in that one, but that was a long time ago. He's lost to Clay Guida, to Nate Diaz, to Diego Sanchez, which I don't think he lost that fight, honestly, and I'm a huge Diego Sanchez fan. Miles Jury was just too big, too much, and then there was Joe Lauzon. The thing with Takanori is that he gasses now, so he comes out and he throws everything straight away, and he just gasses himself out. What Takanori Gomi was known for way back in the Pride days was just a relentless pace, huge strikes, big power. And once he hurt you, he was on you in an instant, and you were done. Especially in Pride, he was soccer kicking guys, and he was just taking them out. Came to the UFC, and he's kind of been up and down. He's not been overly great. The Japanese fighters, when they travel abroad, don't particularly do too well. My pick's going to be Jim Miller. I think it'll be a little bit competitive to start off with, but then I can see just the gas tank depleting, and Jim Miller, he's always going to be there, and he's going to get this fight to the ground, and I can see a submission in this one. If not, maybe a TKO with via ground and pound. But my pick's going to be submission, round number 2. Saying that, Jim Miller's gas tank kind of depletes quite quick as well, but I think his will last a lot more longer in this fight. Moving on, middleweight division, I should say. Gegard Mousasi against Thiago Marreta Santos. Was really looking forward to this fight when Derek Brunson was in it. Unfortunately, he's got pulled out. I think it was an eye injury or something to do with the LASIK surgery, and his vision wasn't quite up there, so he never passed to get into this fight. Santos, a very good replacement. Mousasi, I mean, just a kind of consummate professional, really good everywhere, good on the ground, really good technical boxing, keeps himself at distance well, he's got good timing, in and out, footwork. He's just a smart fighter. My definition of a smart fighter, that is Gegard Mousasi. I mean, he's coming off that victory back in London against Thales Leites, where he just outclassed Leites with his all-around game, but predominantly striking. A guy who's been around a long time, a veteran, so he's facing one of the young pups coming up here who is definitely streaking in Thiago Santos. I mean, this guy is a dangerous guy to fight because he has got some real confidence in his corner right now. He's got some real power which he can unleash at any point. We've seen that with Steve Bossy. I know that's Steve Bossy, but Nate Marquardt absolutely just beat his ass up in Brazil at 198. Elias Theodoro, I thought was a great win, showed some vast improvements in his grappling, his takedown defense. So it's a guy you need to be careful with right now. I'm very tempted to pick Thiago Santos. I mean, the kicks to the legs and the kick to the body are devastating at times, but I just think that Mousasi he's a smart fighter. He's going to have a good game plan for this one, I believe, and I think that he will get the decision victory. I think he will kind of own all 3 rounds. Can I see Santos coming out quick? It is on short notice. I can see that. But I just think Mousasi is a smart fighter, and I find it hard to see Santos beating him in this one. Would like to see Santos beat him, but I think Mousasi is a smart pick in this one. So my pick will be Gegard Mousasi via decision. Your featured fight on the UFC Fight Pass prelims, Diego Sanchez against Joe Lauzon. Now, the amount of time these guys have been in the UFC, I'm really surprised that this fight has never been put together. I watched an interview with Joe Silva. He said he tried to put it together 2 or 3 times, but injuries prevented it. But we got here at UFC 200, where I think both guys are definitely on the tail end of their career. I mean, Joe Lauzon is kind of more into his family now. Diego Sanchez is kind of deteriorating slowly. Was a phenomenal win at 196 against Jim Miller. I was really happy because I think he was underdog. I bet on him to win that one, so I won a good amount of cash. I've won cash on Diego in the past. In fact, I've been watching Diego Sanchez fights most of the day. I watched his fights way back in the day with Nate Diaz and especially Caro Parisian. I really enjoy that fight. It's a fight I watched quite a lot. I remember that it was August 2008. I was sitting in my home watching that fight, and then he beat Joe Riggs, I think, after that with that knee. So, I'm a big Diego Sanchez fan. It's nice to see him win again earlier on this year, and I do believe he can win this fight here. I mean, Joe Lauzon, all around good fighter. He's not very technical in the feet, but he has got a little bit of power. He showed that way back in the past when he caught Jens Pulver. This one's going to be a little bit of a dogfight, and that's the running theme through this card. There is some fights in here which are going to be a dogfight, but I like Diego Sanchez. I just think his gas tank's going to last a little bit longer. His relentless pace will get him into the exchanges where I think he can put a couple of combinations together which can hurt Lauzon. I think he will take the fight to the ground, but he has to be very careful because Lauzon is very creative down there. He's very quick, he's dangerous, he jumps on things when he sees it, and if he gets top position on you, you're in deep shit because he will lay down some serious ground and pound. I just don't see it getting there. I see Diego Sanchez just winning rounds, outpointing Joe Lauzon. If you're looking for a fighter with more of a finish in it, I think Lauzon is the guy to pick. But I think Diego Sanchez is going to get this done. I think he'll get it done by decision. So Diego Sanchez via decision. Moving on to the Fox Sports 1 preliminary card. Starting off with Sage Northcutt against Enrique Marin. Showcase fight for Sage Northcutt coming off that loss. Definitely. Marin's nothing great. I mean, he lost to Eric Montano on the show. Outstruck Montano. leaded off with a nice left jab but followed by a right hook, but a rudimental fighter who I think everything just falls into Sage Northcutt's kind of hands here. The only thing that's probably against him is experience, just maybe a little bit more tougher than Northcutt, I believe. But when you look at Northcutt, I mean, comes from that karate background, great strikes, flashy strikes, very quick, very athletic. I mean, the athleticism this kid has is off the charts. He lost that fight to Brian Barberine. I think it was at 170. Barberine is a tough guy. We've seen that. He beat Vali Alves last time out. I think he was ill. It's hard to tell, really. I thought he was just outclassed personally. It was a fight too soon. UFC rushed him. Should never give him that fight. This is more of the fights they should give him right now. Build him up. I just don't see Sage Northcutt losing this one. I think he's got the advantage on the feet. His quickness is there for all to see. I think when it goes to ground, he's got a good choke in him. He's got good wrestling. I think people, when you watch his fights before the UFC, I know he never fought really many biggish names out there, but he showed that he's got good grappling, and once he gets the opportunity to take you out, he does so. I think that Sage Northcutt is going to knock this guy out. I'm going to go early second round TKO for Sage Northcutt. Now we're moving on to the meat of this card, which is absolutely phenomenal. I mean, fight after fight, it's just great. Great matchups, close matchups, and it starts in the bantamweight division. We have the former champion TJ Dillashaw against Raphael Asuuncao, who's returning after what seems like nearly 2 years off. And this is a rematch between these two. I literally, if you follow me on Twitter, I was just tweeting about this fight. Where I think it was October, no, it might have been early 2014, and it was down in Brazil. Very close fight. TJ Dillashaw nearly finished Asuuncao in that first round. Let's just start with that. Asuuncao, he actually came out very well. Probably first 2 minutes of the fight, he came out with big leg kicks, good combinations, nice left hook, and really busted Dillashaw up. And then Dillashaw, within probably the last 2.5 minutes, managed to find the back of Raphael Asuuncao and nearly, very, very close to a finish via rear naked choke. I thought he had him when I was watching it live. When I watched it again, I thought it was really close. Second round, I thought definitely it was Asuuncao's round. It was very close, but Asuuncao landed the better shots. He landed a really nice short uppercut, which busted TJ Dillashaw's nose. Dillashaw got a takedown, didn't really make much use of it, but the left hand was a big weapon for Asuuncao in that fight, and he kept on hitting it with the nice combinations that he was throwing. And then we go into round 3. Asuuncao cut Dillashaw above the left eye, but I thought that Dillashaw got off the better strikes and he landed more, and I thought he won the fight 29-28. When I watched it originally, I thought the same. When I watched it today, I thought the same. But you've got to look at it. Asuuncao's been out since then. I think he beat Nunes and Brian Caraway, which are good wins. But since then, I mean, Asuuncao's been out with a very, very bad knee injury, I believe it was. Dillashaw since then has just skyrocketed. I mean, he became the UFC champion. He knocked out Renan Barão a couple of times. Very close fight with Dominic Cruz back in January. I've seen people give him that fight. I thought Cruz nicked it just, but if you see the way you watch the fights, TJ Dillashaw won that fight, I can't argue with you at all, but I thought Cruz got it. The winner of this fight literally gets a rematch against Dominic Cruz. I think Cruz will fight in August or September against Brian Caraway. I think that fight might headline the Fox card the end of August, but we will see. And then the winner of that, I think, will face Dillashaw versus Asuuncao. My pick for this, it's hard to go against TJ Dillashaw. The fact he's been more active, I just think he's came along a long way since that fight against Asuuncao. I thought he won the fight personally, but you cannot rule out Raphael Asuuncao. He's a gritty veteran who's always going to be in the fight, not unless you purposely put him out. My pick's going to be TJ Dillashaw, and it will be via unanimous decision. Welterweight division, Johny Hendricks against Kelvin Gastelum. A very well-matched fight, in my opinion. Let's start with Johny Hendricks. He needs to rebound pretty big. I mean, he's been kind of deteriorating kind of slowly, but he's not overly too much. I just think I mean, he lost last time out to Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, and we've seen that anybody who fights Wonderboy is in for a very, very, very tough night, because I don't think you can. It's hard to game plan for that guy. How do you hurt the guy? I mean, because he keeps his distance so well, and his variety of strikes can really hurt you, and it showed that in the Johny Hendricks fight. Hendricks tried to close the distance, and he got his ass beat up bad. As soon as he was backed up against the cage, I mean, Wonderboy just started throwing big shots, and then took him out in the first round, which is something that you've got to keep an eye on, because if that shows maybe deteriorations or not the consistency that he had beforehand. I mean, I think he's been having troubles outside the cage, if I remember right. He had failing businesses, which, after seeing an interview last week, these things are still around him at the minute, and that kind of puts a red flag for me doing that. I believe his weight's on point, which is a little bit better. It's going to have to be with the new UFC procedures. But he's got a very tough opponent here in Kelvin Gastelum. But I think this fight is a fight for Kelvin Gastelum to really put himself out there. I know he lost to Neil Magny, a very close split decision. I do believe that was the right decision. Before that, he beat Nate Marquardt. He lost to Tyron Woodley, which was... if he could have won that fight, he came into it like £9 over. I think he was ill, he went to hospital. But I think if they were to fight now, I would pick Gastelum in that one. I think the wrestling will kind of stifle each other here, and this is why I think it could turn into a slugfest, and then it's just anybody's game. I mean, Hendricks has got that big left hand. We haven't really seen it in a long time. Couldn't really do much with it with Robbie Lawler. Lost that fight there. Could have won that fight. I mean, this is a very, very, very close fight, and I've said in close fights this year that I will go with underdog, and that's why I'm going to go with Kelvin Gastelum here. I think this is kind of similar to the Joanne Calderwood Valerie Returnal thing. I think just Kelvin Gastelum will want it more. I know Hendricks wants to get back to his title, but I just got a feeling that Kelvin Gastelum wants this more. And I know there's people that have already bet. My good friend Dan Levy's already betting Gastelum. I might do so. I'm going to wait for fight week until I make my decision. But my pick for this one is going to be Kelvin Gastelum via decision in this one. And your big fight, your big kind of headline fight for the Fox Sports 1 card is a great fight. One of the fights I'm really looking forward to in this card. Alpha Cat Zingano against Julianna Pena. This is going to be a dog fight, literally, because these girls are so aggressive that it's just going to be, I think, from the get-go, just straight in each other's faces and see who can get the dominant position, the dominant strikes off first. I mean, Kat Zingano, we haven't seen her since the loss to Ronda Rousey. We've seen how that went down. She came out and literally threw a knee straight off, but then she got countered, and you can't do that with Rousey because she will throw you to the ground and she will find a submission on you in no time. I do really rate Kat Zingano. I'm a big fan of the woman. It's kind of funny that our last two wins before Rousey, after she lost that, she took out Amanda Nunes, she took out Miesha Tate, who are in the main card, and Miesha Tate is defending the title. So I find that very an interesting side note here. We haven't seen her since February last year. She's been out a while, not due to injuries, I believe. She's just been training a lot. But I don't like people that have been out too long. It's something I thought the last time she did that against Amanda Nunes, she got off to a very slow start, and Nunes could have really, I thought she should have finished the fight, but we saw the balls that Kat Zingano's got. She just keeps on coming. She never gives up, never gives in. She landed a nice takedown and got into that top mount, and she beat the holy shit out of Amanda Nunes and got the finish. Julianna Pena, last win was against Jessica Ai. Really nice win there, unanimous decision. Just got very aggressive, got some takedowns, beat Jessica Ai up, and got the decision victory there. Miliana Dudieva was before that. Looked like she was going to get taken down, showed incredible balance, and then just got that top position and just rained punches until the referee stopped it. This is a coin flip fight in my opinion, and it's hard picking against either one here, but I'm going to go with underdog again. I'm going to go with Julianna Pena. I just think she's going to find a way. Oh, it's a hard pick. It's really hard pick, this one. I think she's going to find a way to win the rounds, and once she gets down to that ground, she's very scrappy. She looks for things. Zingano's pretty good. She has pretty good jiu-jitsu, so you have to look out for that. But I just think Pena's going to keep going, and she's going to get strikes off. Boy, it's a very tough fight. I actually really want to bet this fight, because I think Pena, if you're looking for a good underdog bet, it's definitely one to do so. Follow me on Clappertech, and you will see that what bets I put on. I've already put on a few for the week's festivities. I put on Joseph Duffy, Mitch Clark to finish in under 2.5. I've got a parlay on there, and I have somebody else who I'll talk about in this card later. But my pick, really, really tough pick, but it's going to be Julianna Pena via decision. But this fight could end. I think it could kind of end any time. Close fight, great fight. So really looking forward to watching it. But my pick will be Julianna Pena. We are moving on to the main card of UFC 200, and it's just fucking nuts how good it is. Starting off in the heavyweight division, we have the former two-time UFC heavyweight champion Cain Velasquez making his return here against Travis Browne. So let's get into it. Cain Velasquez, I mean, he looked really bad. I don't think he didn't look bad. I just think he didn't have the right kind of preparation for Fabrizio Verdum last time, and it showed. It showed, because he's known for his gas tank, and he's known for his just never stop attitude, and he got caught, and it was a little bit stupid in that fight. He went for a takedown against Verdum the first time around, and I thought, what are you doing? You're going to get caught in a guillotine. Lucky he got away with it. Second time, not so lucky. But in that fight, he was just getting lit up in the feet. He took a lot of heavy shots in that one, and I just think it's hard to come back from those fights. I mean, it's nearly a year since that fight. I always say it's always good to take a bit of time off after those fights. He was supposed to fight for Verdum again. That fell through. What we've got with Velasquez, great relentless pace, very good wrestling, pretty good boxing, but just that come forward attitude like a bull that he never gives up. It's always in your face. He's going to out cardio you, and he's just going to beat you up. Travis Browne, I'm not his biggest fan, but he is a dangerous guy, definitely a dangerous guy. Very long for the division, very heavy, a heavy hitter. I thought against Matt Mitrione back in January, he didn't look great whatsoever. I thought it was a pretty poor performance. Got the victory though, but he was coming through a hard time after the allegations of him beating his wife. The whole thing we get with Ronda Rousey. Before that, I mean, he beat. Did he lose that before that? Sorry. Yeah, he lost to Arlovsky, got knocked out in that epic round at 187. Beat Brendan Shaw before that. But he's a very heavy hitter, and he needs to get off first. He needs to keep his distance. He's got those big Superman punches, the teeps. He needs to do that with Velasquez, but he needs to be careful, because Velasquez will catch that leg and take you down. My pick for this is going to be Travis Browne. Another underdog, a big underdog. I think he's a plus 250 underdog. And the reason I'm saying this, when I was in Vegas at 197 in April, I saw Cain Velasquez on 3 separate occasions, and he was limping on his left knee. He looked really big, like chunky as fuck, like a huge. He's like a tree stump. He was very wide, looked out of shape. That was in April, and he wasn't in fight camp, which is fair enough. But he didn't look in the best of nick, and I think that fight with Verdum took a lot out of him. I just think that Browne, it doesn't take much for him to hit you hard and take you out. I'll probably be in the minority picking Travis Browne here. I think everybody else will probably go with Velasquez. I'm going on a hunch here, just from what I've seen in April, and it's really not the best of hunches, because he wasn't in fight. He wasn't getting ready for a fight or stuff like that. So, but I just think Travis Browne can catch him some way, and potentially win by knockout. I don't. It's hard. It's hard to pick against Cain Velasquez. Jeez, it's going to be Travis Browne. I can only see Travis Browne win this fight via TKO. So if I'm going to pick Travis Browne, I have to pick Travis Browne via TKO. So I'm going to go a second round TKO here for Travis Browne, but I'm definitely going to be in the minority with that one. Moving on, Tate interim title fight for the UFC featherweight champion, as we have probably the kingpin of the featherweight division in Jose Aldo, who did lose his belt. Not the kingpin anymore, but he is pretty much the UFC featherweight division before Conor McGregor, against Frankie Edgar. Great fight here. And I'll tell you straight off the bat, I am picking Frankie Edgar. I just think that Jose Aldo, we're either going to see a Jose Aldo determined to get that title back and really show that determination we saw back in the WEC, where he was just going for the jugular straight off and beating your ass. Since he's come into the UFC, he's faced tougher guys, but we haven't seen that from him, and I just think he's been deteriorating slowly but surely, but still, because he's immense talent, he's been winning these fights. And then we saw at UFC 194, Conor McGregor literally talked his way into Aldo's head, and Aldo played right into his game plan. He came out too aggressive, and McGregor caught him with a beautiful shot, and followed up with some hammer punches, and that was it. But I still think from interviews I've read last week, I think he's looking past Frankie Edgar, and Frankie Edgar is a fighter that you just do not look past, because he's one of the toughest guys ever in the UFC. For as long as I've been watching the sport, he's a guy, the ultimate underdog. And these guys faced a way back, I think it was UFC 156, and that fight was very, very close. If Frankie Edgar had got off to a quicker start, a little bit of a better start, he could have won that fight. But since like the last maybe year and a half, these two, Aldo barely fights once a year if you're lucky. Since then, since he's lost to Jose Aldo, he has beaten some great fighters. Charles Oliveira, BJ Penn, that fight should never happen. Cub Swanson, Uriah Faber, and then he knocked Chad Mendes the fuck out. Not many people do that, especially with one punch, and he did that. Aldo couldn't do it. McGregor accumulated strikes for him to knock him out, but he hit him square in the nose and knocked him out. I really like Frankie Edgar, and I was talking about bets earlier on. I have bet, I think it's 1.5 units, 150 quid if you're looking at it from here, on Frankie Edgar. I just think I'm on a group on Facebook, UFC Betting Sharks. Mr. Robin Black came on, who is a guy I respect immensely, came in and says that Frankie Edgar is looking as sharp as ever, and Nova Uniao is kind of still set in their ways a little bit, so you have to go with someone like Frankie Edgar. I cannot pick against Frankie Edgar here. I just think that McGregor is still in his head. I think that he is declining a little bit. I think that he is looking past Frankie Edgar, so that's why I'm going to pick Frankie here. Frankie Edgar, I think he can stop him. I really do. I'm going to go a third round TKO victory for Frankie Edgar. Moving on, women's bantamweight division. Miesha Tate against Amanda Nunes. Another great fight. I'm really looking forward to this. I'm a massive Miesha Tate fan. And I think she's got a legit challenge here in Amanda Nunes. Amanda Nunes I think she's one of the best strikers in the UFC bantamweight division. She's one of the hardest hitters in that division. But I do think that her gas tank, there's no way this girl's going to go 5 rounds. No way. If she hits you with a decent strike, she just comes at you straight away. She's got no reservations about sitting back and just pot shotting or anything. She comes forward, and ultimately her arms and legs kind of tire her through, and she gasses out. Where Miesha Tate, she's going to be in this fight all the entire 25 minutes. You have to take her out if you want to win this fight, and we've seen that against Holly Holm. I think I had it 3 rounds to 1 for Holly Holm. Now, if you go back and watch that fight prediction that I did for that, I absolutely nailed it. I don't think I've had one like that all year. It might be my only one I've predicted absolutely spot on. I said a 5th round submission because I thought it was a chance to do it. And you seen once it got to the ground, she had a distinct advantage, nearly caught in the 2nd round. And but Holly Holm, good fighter, good game plan, kept on the feet, kept at distance, won rounds. As soon as it hit the ground in round 2, Tate had her down there, and nearly got that finish. Very, very close. Once she got it in the 5th round, she was not letting go. She had that bulldog grip on, and she stopped the fight. I was over the moon. Really, really, really happy for her. Really nice woman. I met her a few times. But I just think Nunes will come out quick. I can see Nunes winning maybe the first round. But Tate's going to be there round after round. She's going to be grinding, putting her against the cage, taking her down. I think once it hits there, I know that Nunes is okay with her jiu-jitsu. She's pretty decent herself. I just think that Tate is very strong. She's just very determined. I think this is a good fight for her first defence here. And my pick's going to be Miesha Tate. I think she's going to win via TKO. And I'm going to go for a 3rd round finish once again. If not, I can see her possibly stopping. But if not, I can see a pretty unanimous decision going Tate's way. Don't see too many people picking Nunes. I just can't see it in my opinion. I think it's going to be Miesha Tate. Co-main event of the night. We have... I did not think I'd be saying this name in a video prediction ever again. Brock Lesnar makes his UFC return as he faces off against the Super Samoan Mark Hunt. Now, Brock Lesnar, I mean, he gets a lot of people don't like the guy in MMA personally, but I'm a big wrestling fan. Christ, I'm sitting here with a Finn Balor shirt on, so I'm happy to see him back because I thought he went out. He didn't go out in the best of terms. I don't think he was particularly healthy. But if you were around, I know there's a lot of new fans here of the sport, people that maybe watch this, my predictions. During that time, around about 2010, I think it was, from UFC 100 to UFC 116, the fights with Frank Mir were epic, and Shane Carwin, I should say. That fight with Shane Carwin, I watch all the time. He took some shots in that fight, and people say, oh, he hasn't got a chin, he doesn't like being hit. That is true. It's plain to see he doesn't like being hit, but the guy never gave up in those fights. Maybe in the Overeem fight, he got hit in the right spot, especially with his diverticulitis. That was going to affect him and he got taken out. Cain Velasquez was just too good, always going to be too good in my opinion. But I'm excited to see Brock Lesnar back. I think it's what this card needed, personally, with Conor not being on, with GSP not returning coming. They needed Brock Lesnar for this one, so I'm happy to see him here. And I'm really happy that they haven't given him a cut. They've given him a legit ranked heavyweight. Because I thought when I heard Brock Lesnar's come back, I'm like, they're going to give him somebody not very good. No, they're giving him Mark Hunt. They're giving him a guy who is a striker, who loves taking chins off people. How do I see this fight going? We know what Mark Hunt's going to want to do. He wants to come out. He wants to test that chin. He wants to... if he hits... Only takes one shot with Mark Hunt. We've seen it. He hits you, he walks the fuck off. And he looks a total gangster when he does so. But Brock Lesnar, that guy... I mean, the guy's in shape. I mean, he has been... I know he hasn't fought a fight in nearly 5 years. But the guy's still... I know it's a different aspect. He's still wrestling matches for the WWE. Not all the time, but he's still keeping that kind of athletic thing going. And the guy's just a genetic freak. He always has been. He's been someone I've been watching for many years. And he's a guy you shouldn't count out. If he gets a takedown in Mark Hunt here now, I know Mark Hunt has made significant improvements on not being put in his back and being kept there, which in the past he would have done so. Stipe Miocic, I know he got beat up in that fight really bad. It was a horrible fight to watch. But he kept getting back to his feet and he kept trying to get back to his feet. Brock Lesnar, if he gets him down and can control Mark Hunt, he will win this fight fairly easily. I think he will. He's got huge hands, so it doesn't take many shots for him to really put a beating on you. But it's hard to stop Mark Hunt. I think personally, Mark Hunt is going to win this fight. And I may be made to look kind of stupid because I am thinking about Brock Lesnar. I have been fairly going back and forth on this, but I think Mark Hunt will find a position where he has hurt Brock Lesnar and he'll finish him. And I don't think that's a bad thing for Brock Lesnar because he's coming in against a legit guy here after 5 years out nearly. But my pick's going to be Mark Hunt via TKO in round number 1. And the main event of the night, a fight which I'm really looking forward to seeing. A little bit gutted because, let's face it, I was going to watch this back in April before Daniel Cormier get injured. Daniel Cormier, the UFC light heavyweight champion, against the interim champion Jon Jones. Oh, text message. So yeah, I think Daniel Cormier, I think he really wished that he probably fought that fight in April, for the simple fact that watching Jon Jones, I don't think he was great that night whatsoever. And if Daniel Cormier was fighting that night, I firmly believe that Cormier could have probably beaten Jon Jones. Watch their fight here from last year, and complete domination from Jon Jones. And do I see it being any different here? It's hard to see where it can really hurt Jon Jones, but he has the confidence. He's beaten the two guys outside of Jon Jones, which are the hardest guys to fight. He fought Rumble Johnson, stopped him, had a great fight against Alexander Gustafsson, got hurt in that one, still came through it. So he's got the confidence of a champion, but he's against the guy who beat him and pretty much had his way with him last January. Daniel Cormier's got the wrestling. We've seen in the first fight that Jon Jones has more than had enough in that aspect, with the grappling aspect. Kept him at distance, hurt him with those oblique kicks, kept on the end of the jab, had some nice body shots, and he took DC down. Daniel Cormier has to get inside that reach of Jon Jones, has to find a way to kind of stay in there and really try and hurt him and get him down and get him on his back. Jones has submissions. We haven't really seen him off his back, but I do believe that he's probably decent down there. I think he's been training a lot in his jiu-jitsu. But say back in April, it was quite frustrating watching Jon Jones, because you could see the little bit of rust there against OSP. He went through OSP quite easily, but he struggled a little bit to kind of finish that fight. You've seen the rust there. That's why I think DC could have beat him then. But I just can't. It's hard to pick Daniel Cormier for this one against Jon Jones. That first fight was so dominant for Jon Jones. The rounds could have, if Cormier landed a few more shots in the clinch, maybe it could have went kind of Cormier's way. But it's really hard to pick against Jon Jones here. I personally think he's the best of all time. So yeah, my pick is going to be Jon Jones for this one, and I'm going to go with a finish, because I think everybody that picks Jon Jones is probably going to go decision. I'm going to go a submission victory in round number 4 for Jon Jones. So that's my picks for the epic event, which is UFC 200. I'll be back a video next week for UFC. It's in South Dakota, Sioux Falls, or whatever the hell it's called. It was Tony Ferguson against Michael Chiesa. Michael Chiesa got injured. Tony Ferguson got bumped down to the co-main event. He faces Landon Venata, and Mayday McDonald against John Lineker now moves up to the main card, the main event of the card there. So, as always, thank you so much for watching. Comment below with your picks for the card, because I think people will be going back and forward with their picks, because there is a lot of close fights. Follow me on Twitter, Will Martin MMA. Follow the good guys down below me: Dan Levy, Rockstar Z, Flying Brian, James Lynch, Talking Brawls podcast, Severe MMA podcast, Part and Shot podcast. I think I'm going to be appearing tomorrow on the John and Mike's podcast, talking a whole load of stuff. So look out for that when it comes out. And until next week, and for this whole entire fight card next week, all the fights, enjoy it. It's a great week. And I will see you all very soon for that card on the Wednesday the week after. So I'll have that out next week. Take care. Thank you.